All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We've got our hands on the official employee rulebook for a company called ThatWare, and we're just going to break it down piece by piece. This is a fascinating look at how one company lays out every single rule for its employees.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We're essentially going to follow the entire journey of an employee, from their very first day on the job to the daily ins and outs of clocking in and taking time off, all the way to what happens when they decide to leave.
Okay, first things first. Your life at ThatWare kicks off with a mandatory 3-month probation period. And believe me, it has its own unique set of rules. So here's the deal for those first 90 days. You don't get any paid time off. No casual leave, no sick leave. If you need to take a day, that money comes straight out of your salary. But on the plus side, your full benefits like your Provident Fund and insurance, those actually kick in from your very first month.
And this is where things get, incredibly precise. Your exact start date matters a lot. If you start on January 3rd, you get your paid leave starting in April. But if you start just one day later, on the 4th, you have to wait a whole extra month until May. Talk about cutting it close.
All right, so you've made it through probation. Now we get into the daily routine, the rules that govern your time, from the second you walk in the door to when you work late. This right here is the magic number,
9:45
a.m. You have to be at your desk by then. Because if you clock in at
9:46,
you've officially triggered their late policy, and they do not mess around with it. And here it is. It's basically a 3-strike system. Your first 3 late arrivals in a month get marked down. But that 4th time, it's not just a warning. They automatically deduct a full day's salary from your pay. No questions asked.
Now what about the other end of the day? Well, they do compensate for overtime, and the way they structure it is pretty interesting. You've got these clear payment tiers for staying late. But look closely, you have to stay 5 minutes past the hour to actually qualify for that level's pay.
Okay, let's get into what is maybe the most complicated part of this entire rulebook. The system for taking what they call a casual leave, which is basically just a regular day off. It's a real puzzle.
And this is the heart of the puzzle. We all like a long weekend, right? But wanting to take off a Monday or a Friday at this company puts you face to face with a really strict and potentially expensive set of rules.
And here's the rule straight from the horse's mouth. The company policy literally says taking leave on a Monday or Friday is not allowed. The only way around it is to have a super valid reason with proof, and even then, it's totally up to management to say yes or no.
And this is what happens depending on their decision. If you somehow get that Monday or Friday off approved, it costs you 2 of your leave days. But if it's unapproved and you take it anyway, the penalty is massive. They dock you for 4 days of leave because they count the Saturday and Sunday against you too. Wow. But here's an interesting little twist. The company actually has a system that pays you not to take your days off. If you go 3 months in a row without using any, you get a bonus worth 4 extra days of pay.
Okay, moving beyond just a simple day off, the rulebook dives even deeper when it comes to being sick, needing time for family, or planning a longer vacation.
So on the surface, this sounds pretty generous, right? 20 sick days per year. But as you can probably guess by now, actually using one of those days isn't quite so simple.
So you can't just call in sick. To use an official sick leave, you absolutely must provide a doctor's prescription. They also make a distinction between, say, a stomach ache, which has to come out of your regular casual leave, and more serious health problems.
And then you find this sentence in the document. This is a direct quote. It says, "The company has nothing to do with the health of the person." It's their way of saying that while you can take leave if you're sick, the final call on whether it's paid sick leave is 100% up to the HR department. Now, there are some other unique benefits. Employees get 1 special half-day off each month, though you can't use it on a Monday or Friday. And they have separate parental leave policies. New moms get 3 months at full pay, and new dads get 1 week, which is totally separate from their other leave.
And that brings us to the end of the employee journey, leaving the company. The rulebook has a very clear and very different set of procedures, depending on whether you quit or you're fired.
So if you decide to resign, you have to work a 1-month notice period. And during that month, the rules get even tougher. If you take even 1 day off, they dock you for 2 days worth of salary. And your final paycheck? Yeah, that might be held for an extra month. And this just lays it all out so clearly. If you resign, you're locked into that strict 1-month notice. If the company lets you go, there's no notice period, but they can hold your final salary for up to 30 days, especially if they suspect something fishy.
Now, in the specific case of a layoff, the company says it follows the labor laws. The formula is pretty clear. For every full year you've worked there, you get 15 days of salary as severance pay.
And one final, really important rule that basically hangs over your entire time there. The document makes it clear. Whatever salary you agreed to in your offer letter is final. There's no room for negotiation for at least your first year.
So when you put all these rules together, from your first minute to your last, you get this incredibly detailed blueprint of what's expected. It's all spelled out, which leaves you with a really big question, right? When a company documents every single part of the workday like this, what does that tell you about its culture and what it really truly values?